Hello, and welcome back to my channel, which is no longer called FPL Fix. Um, it's now called FPL Lord. So, um, just had to make that change because there was another channel called Fancy Football Fix. I thought it was American football, because that's what fancy football is called. But no, in fact, it's Premier League, fancy Premier League channel. So mine was called FPL Fix. So um, I was considering I'll just keep it, but no, I said I'd make a new channel name, clear everything up, keep things simple. It's early days yet, so it's only episode 3. So yeah, that's one bit of news. Hopefully you can see me now. Should be up in that corner there. As I said, I got myself on screen, make it a bit more interactive, and also recording using this condenser mic, which is working brilliant. Shouldn't be moving it. It's probably going to get scratchy, but yeah, audio should be sorted from now on. So all these improvements, happy days. I'm gonna go through my team. Really interesting week. Loads of things to talk about. I've just got a couple of really interesting topics. I'm not going to go through each game because I just think it's a bit long and drawn out. I don't think there's really a need for that. I think it can be a bit more concise. So just I suppose updates with my team um, from my last meeting, from my last video. Martinez, I went with him in the end, and the 0.5 I saved, I ended up putting into getting James Justin in, and I have a little bit more in the bank as well, just because Justin has such great fixtures. He's really attacking wing back, and he was a better choice really than Charlie Taylor at Burnley, so I went with him instead. And Martinez gets a clean sheet. Villa look good at the back. Now he's probably not going to get a clean sheet against Liverpool, but happy. That's the only real change from the last video, from the wildcard draft. And yeah, listen, I suppose the most common theme here is the unpredictability of start of the season continues. Loads of penalties, loads of crazy results. City losing to Leicester, Vardy scoring a hat trick, Wolves losing 4-0, like just crazy things going on. So really unpredictable. But I am really happy with my team going forwards. Another kind of poor week for me points wise, but I suppose just it's really important that like going forward, really happy. So that's the main thing. I'm going to go through a couple of points here. Just I suppose I'd like a bit of feedback and see what people think. Obviously, I've got myself in the corner now. I've got the mic. Like the channel is improving, but I'm always kind of looking out to see what kind of way I'm going to develop the videos. There's a lot to talk about in these videos, so I could break them. I could release a couple of videos. I'm getting the hang of video editing the videos. So I'm kind of looking into now different topics. So I could maybe have a watch list video. I could have a game week 3 reaction, and then maybe game week 4 preview. I could go maybe to 2 or 3 videos a week. I could have watch lists. Top 5 value players. That's another video I'm considering making. So yeah, I'd like a bit of feedback about see what people think about maybe shorter to the point videos rather than one big long one, because I could come on here and talk for days really. FPL, you could talk forever. So I'm going to go through a couple of points. As I said, biggest thing is the channel's improving. But onto FPL, this is what we're talking about. So what are we going to talk about first? I think Werner is a very interesting topic. His price is dropping. People aren't happy with him. I kept him in on the wildcard just for that good fixture, and the next 2 fixtures are good. So I don't think he's necessarily a must sell. If you own him, I'd nearly hold on to him if you've just wildcarded and you don't have Son in your team, then I suppose you probably have a team that you're pretty happy with, and Werner could be the person you prioritise. Maybe you want to move him on. But if Son is the more important, could be the more short-term thing that you need to do is to get a replacement for Son. So just on the topic of this, Werner replacements is the first thing I'm going to discuss. So the 2 best replacements you're going to save a little bit under $1 million are Jimenez and Ings. Danny Ings probably looks better on form, but Jimenez has the better fixtures. So Southampton have they have a great fixture this week against West Brom. You could target that for as getting him in for that, but then he's got Chelsea and Everton, so like they're challenging enough games. He can score against anyone, but he might not. Um, they're challenging defenses to score against. Whereas Jimenez, still has a sea of green. For fixture wise, Wolves were bad in the last game, but are they going to continue to be as bad? Probably not. We know they're a good team. He scored twice now, opening 2 games. So he's got all these green fixtures. So Jimenez is probably the better one. They both have penalties, so and there's no standout favourite there. So yeah, Ings probably overshadowed a little bit by Jimenez for a Werner replacement. As for Son replacements, you've got a couple of options. I suppose the standout ones, I've gone for Foden. Um, I went for him early in the week because I want to avoid the price drop. But most people probably held on, didn't want to make the decision too early. He got taken off in the 63rd minute in the last game, so and so he does look like a great shout, and he was rested as well tonight in the EFL in the League Cup. So he looks like he's going to be a shoe in the start. Like Sterling or Foden are going to be playing really up front. Like more than likely Sterling, because Jesus continues to be injured. Like Foden or Sterling up front, really interesting prospect for a false nine. Like that's essentially the way that he plays. So Foden is a great option. Harvey Barnes is another great option. I think he's a brilliant option for 7 million. Leicester a really good fixture. I'll just go to James Justin here just to show you the fixtures. Really good fixtures: West Ham, Villa, and Leeds in the next 4. That's fantastic. So Harvey Barnes, he's not the best of finishers, but like I think he's a brilliant option. Leicester are just really really good going forward. Madison, maybe if you think he's going to start, he's on set pieces. But it's just, will he get the minutes? He has been only been coming on in the last couple of games. Will he start the next game? We don't really know. Keep an eye on Madison. And then I suppose the other option would be maybe Mahrez. But Mahrez did start the FPL Cup game this week. Mahrez scored in the last game. He could go for him. A bit more pricey. Not as sure if we're going to start. But City do have they have an awful lot of injuries right now. So it kind of reduces the risks of rotation, because Pep just has to play whoever's fit. The other option with Son is to keep him, because the international break is coming the week after this one, so there is the possibility that he will only miss this game week, which is a game against Man United anyway, so didn't really have the potential to be a high scoring game. So if you think that Son is going to be back fit by game week 5, he could just hold on to him, and that would nearly be a differential holding on to him, because a lot of people will have gotten rid of him. I've chosen to get rid of him because I think I need that money elsewhere, but you could choose to hold on to him. So that's the Sun replacements, and I suppose the options for Werner, if you want to take him out. I suppose I'm really happy with this team going forward. Martinez is not going to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, but 2 clean sheets in open 2 games. Villa look better defensively, so and like they bet Fulham 3-0, and that really showed that Fulham are a team that you need to be targeting for. They look like the whipping boys already. So every year a team emerges that you suppose you target for goals. They used to be Bournemouth for years. They were the reliable whipping boys, but Fulham the last time when they were in the league were definitely the whipping boys too. Norwich maybe a bit last year. This year so far it seems that's going to be West Brom and Fulham. So Wolves have a lovely fixture against Fulham. Another thing just to notice, Daniel James is going through my team. Daniel James got a bonus point even though he conceded 3 goals and didn't get any attacking returns. He still managed to get a bonus point. So that just shows you the amount of attacking potential and the amount of crosses he was putting in. So I'm kind of happy to own him going forwards. Mendy goes in there. Hopefully it'll improve defence. Hopefully Chelsea can sort out their defensive issues. Justin discussed already, great fixtures. Those 3 out of the next 4 are just brilliant. So I'm really happy to own him going forwards. Leicester just look brilliant attacking going forwards. Castagna and Justin bombing forward as a wing back. So he's a great shout for a really good price of 4.7 million. Size hasn't been able to repeat his heroics from week 1. Second week he gave away the penalty for Kevin De Bruyne's goal. Conceded 4 goals last week, so not overly happy with him. But I suppose you kind of just have to think about is the Wolves that we saw majority of last season who were really defensively solid. I suppose Wolves haven't just turned into a bad team overnight. They have a really bad result against the 4-0 loss to West Ham, but it's probably just a blip. We know they're a good team. Um, and excuse me, and then Lamptey, 3 assists in the first 3 games. Can't really ask for much more for a 4.5 million defender. Has potential to get clean sheet, so he's a really good player, really good price. I suppose defense overall, if you're thinking about, clean sheets look an awful lot less likely with the amount of penalties that are being given, the amount of goals are being scored. I think game week 2 it was a record for goals scored, 44 goals scored in a weekend, just crazy. But our team is going to continue at that level of goal scoring. It's hard to know. The clean sheets on average are probably a little bit lower. So does that mean that investing heavily in defenders is less worth it? So I suppose Trent Alexander-Arnold owners were worried up until game week 1 and 2. It was a 7.5 million being invested well, and the clean sheets look much less likely. But I'd say Liverpool defenders are definitely worth it, but I suppose more expensive defenders, if you're just looking for a clean sheet, they might not be worth it. So size would fall into that category, has limited attacking potential. So if it's the guaranteed or the reliable clean sheets that you're looking for, I suppose over the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll see, are the clean sheets kind of being kept. But it's an interesting thing to talk about. Clean sheets are at the minute much less likely, with all the penalties being given and all the goals being scored. But we'll have to see if those trends continue. On to Salah. So I suppose I'm going to discuss captaincy afterwards. Salah only got an assist against Arsenal, but still happy to own him. Really good captaincy option for this week. And I think game week 7 he has West Ham, so not much to say about Salah. I brought Sterling in instead of Kevin De Bruyne last week, just last minute, because I had the wild card active. It looked like I was going to get Kevin De Bruyne in, but then the news came out of the Jesus injury, and it was just like, well, listen, Sterling will play up front, which he did in the last game, but he didn't get any returns. He was unlucky now not to get in the end of a couple of crosses and stuff, but I'm still really happy to have him over Kevin De Bruyne just in the short term. The option is obviously always there to move him to Kevin De Bruyne, but whilst Jesus is injured, I think it's an interesting differential to have Sterling. Foden, I've discussed him already for 6.6 million. I transferred him in for Son. I didn't wait for the price of Son to drop. I just got Foden out. I put Foden in. So happy to own him. It looks like he's going to be much higher, or he's going to play much more minutes. So really happy to have him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored in the last game, 7.4 million. I think he's gone up to now. Looks great value. Just the quality of the ball being given into him is just much higher by Luka Dean and by James Rodriguez. So for corners and for free kicks, just the quality of ball going into him, and they're aiming for him, get him on the head. He's not the most clinical of finishers. We also saw that Richarlison was on penalties last week, so that's interesting. I still like Richarlison as an option, but really happy to cut down with Calvert-Lewin. Werner, I discussed, he is a concern. Chelsea in general are a concern. We're just kind of waiting for him to click. It's hard to know how long we're going to wait on Werner. I'm happy to know for the next, maybe for this week, but you're kind of just waiting. Is Ziyech going to come back in? Is Pulisic going to come back in? Are they going to click? Is Havertz going to start clicking? It's all these question marks, and it's how long do I hold on to this 9.4 million player? His price is dropping, so he could be the first one that I kind of transfer out. I could move up to Kane. I have some 2.6 million in the bank, so Kane, it looks like a tantalising option, but if Son remains injured for a longer term, it's kind of well, who's Kane going to assist? His assist potential kind of reduces, so that's another thing to think about. And then on to Jimenez, even though very unlucky in the last game to get a clean sheet given against, or own goal given against him, really unlucky, got 0 points. I transferred in, put in Saiss and Jimenez, and got a total of 0 points for the 3 of them. So just really unfortunate. But a lot of people are still transferring him in this week. Just for them lovely run of fixtures, very highly transferred in. So really happy to own him. And then Burke, as I discussed in my last video, he came in and got me 3 points. He's continuing to play up front for Sheffield, so really happy to own him. I suppose we're just waiting on Podence. to see if he's injured for this weekend. He probably will. I'll probably be starting him actually instead of Lamptey. So we have him in there to start. Obviously, he has that Fulham fixture. So if he starts, he'll probably be the same as last week again. He'll either be start or he might not even be on the bench if he's injured. So that's my team going. Looking forward to next week. You know, it was a disappointing week again last week. I only got 32 points the week of a wild card. Felt really challenging, but the most important thing is I am really happy with my team going forwards. This is really unpredictable. Like, you know, last week was another bunch of really unpredictable results when it came to penalties, when it came to, you know, West Ham West Ham winning. So yeah, we probably just hold on and just see how things steady out. You know, do the penalties increase? Just on the penalties, I've heard that the most recent update is that refs have been told to be a bit more lenient with defenders when it comes to the penalties. Now, what that's going to translate into, we don't really know, but I have got the direct message basically to refs is that they need to be more lenient to defenders, basically to give less penalties, use a bit more common sense when it comes to the penalties. Now, I don't know if by the letter of the law it's been discussed all weekend. You know, something needs to change because it's just gone crazy. So we'll see, I suppose, does the number of penalties reduce? But that's it really. Thanks for listening to me for the last couple of minutes. I'd love some more feedback into the channel, into what kind of videos people want to listen to. Do they want, as I said, do you want kind of videos that are related to watches players, more videos, better value options, you know? So I try and cram them all into this kind of weekly session, but I could make separate ones, separate videos if that would be better. So I'm trying to get the hang of video editing, trying to get everything right. But thanks very much for listening and watching, and I will see you all again very soon. And remember, new channel name is FPL Lord. So thanks very much.